President Trump is breaking a long-standing tradition followed by the last 7 of his predecessors that could negatively impact U.S. national security. The Washington Post reports that for much of the past year, the president rarely, if ever, participates in reading his president's daily brief, a document laying out critical information collected by U.S. intelligence agencies from hotspots around the world. Quote, Trump has opted to rely on an oral briefing of select intelligence issues in the Oval Office rather than getting the full written document delivered to review separately each day. According to 3 people familiar with his briefings, reading the traditionally dense, intelligent book is not Trump's preferred style of learning, according to a person with knowledge of the situation. With us to talk about it is a person with knowledge of the situation, retired 4-star U.S. Army General Barry McCaffrey, a decorated combat veteran of Vietnam and former battlefield commander in the Persian Gulf, now an MSNBC military analyst. This might be a thing, General, good to see you, by the way. It might be a thing if this were a president who never talked about war, but this is a president who tweets about war and threatens war and talks about a bigger nuclear button and talks about ripping up treaties and things like that. So it would probably be of some concern to those in the armed services or the families of those people, or pretty much Americans at large, that the president may not be getting as full a briefing on a daily basis as one might expect.
Well, look, Ali, if you've had a lifelong experience in the Foreign Service or in the Armed Forces, the first thing you do as a senior person in Washington when you get up in the morning is you read the classified intel. You simply have to get the diplomatic cables from the ambassadors in the key countries. You got to listen to the morning intel update. It's hard work, if you're smart and experienced, to stay abreast of these complex situations. But I think it is unsettling. And by the way, the reporting out of the White House is saying he's rather inattentive in the verbal briefing also, and tends to dominate it with impulsive, erratic comments. So I think it's not going to serve him well. It's too bad he's fallen into this sort of undisciplined habit.
Let's tell you what the Washington Post is reporting. It says administration officials defended Trump's reliance on oral sessions and says he gets full intelligence briefings, noting the presidents have historically sought to receive the information in different ways. Michael Anton, a spokesman for the National Security Council, said Trump is, quote, an avid consumer of intelligence, appreciates the hard work of his briefers and of the entire intelligence community, and looks forward every day to give and take of his intelligence briefings. Now, we got to take them at their word on that one, General, but there is something that most people, certainly most universities and colleges and high schools, feel is a little bit more rigorous about reading your homework ahead of time and then coming with questions that you've gleaned from having read the material.
Sure, of course. If you're trying to understand physics or French literature or foreign policy, you simply have to do your homework. By the way, I worked for President Bill Clinton, who I've watched him throw Foreign Service officers out of the Oval Office, telling them, I already read your briefing book, tell me your sort of qualitative assessment. So you simply can't digest the complex situations that are going on in the world unless you sit down and do some hard work for an hour or two. And that's really what I think the country expects of the senior officials in the national security apparatus. Not just the president, but the whole team of them in Congress and the executive branch.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.